chronic illness, of traumatic illnesses, onset of traumatic illnesses. And that directly led me back to ancestral trauma. I did know about ACEs, and I don't know if your audience is familiar with ACEs or not, but ACEs are adverse childhood experiences, so our childhood traumas. I knew about ACEs, but I didn't really know how much they actually caused chronic health problems in adults. So I learned about that, and then that jump was then this spiritual awakening that I had during my encounter with Lyme disease opened my eyes to the fact that this was not fully my illness. I started having visions and insights related to my mother's childhood and the experiences of my grandparents that were directly related to my illness in terms of a story. I think a lot of times people ask, how are they directly related? Well, there was this narrative that I was carrying and these family stories that I knew peripherally or directly. And I started putting these story pieces together, and I thought, oh, this is why I'm having these symptoms. This is why my body is responding this way.
Mm-hmm. It is fascinating because it is often a trauma that we experience that awakens us and allows us to begin to understand the idea of ancestral trauma and things that have been passed down. And so as a professional, and as you were coming out of your own traumatic experience, both physically and spiritually, as this was this awakening was happening. How did you begin to integrate this into your everyday life, just in how you face the world, but also in how you thought about working with clients and patients?
Well, first, it opened me up to respecting other types of modalities of healing. So I did not know anything about homeopathy, and I was so sick I would have tried anything. So one of the first things that I did when I was still ill in those years was I went to a homeopath, what they call a classical homeopath. And that woman started asking me, it was 2 days of questioning, and she was asking me questions all about my family history, things that I thought, how in the world is this relevant to me getting better? I was actually kind of annoyed. And then after she prescribed the remedy, I again didn't believe that anything was going to come out of it. And what ended up coming out of it was a series of dreams. And those dreams were about my grandfather, specifically. So I was very ill. She had asked me some questions about my grandfather's work and where he came from and what I knew of what he was like, because I didn't know him directly. And just as an example, one night after taking the remedy, I went to sleep and I woke up. I dreamed that I had coal coming out of my skin. So I was shedding coal from my skin. And when I woke up, I said, oh my God, I knew that was my granddad's pain of being a coal miner his entire life. So it felt freeing and light, and it felt like I was healing. So that was a direct release of this story that my body had been carrying. And I viscerally knew that because I felt better after I woke up.